What's happening, YouTube? I'm your host, Kite, and I'm really like that. Don't forget it, I'm really like that. I'm kidding. I mean, I'm not kidding, but I'm sorry that I meme-mugged you like that. I mean, I'm not sorry, but you'll be alright. So I'm back again with another anime power system crossover, and to show my gratitude for you guys smashing the like goal I had on my last video where I gave Finn a Nin ability, a Hatsu. I asked for 200 likes, y'all got over 300, so I'm about to show you my gratitude by doing another cartoon character like I said I would. Please try to reach the same like goal, 200 plus likes, and I will continue to do the characters from whatever genre you want. So this is for to show my appreciation. So hit the like button. Also hit the like button if you like my content, if you like anything throughout the course of this video that I say, if you find it interesting, or if you like the concept of my videos at all. Hit the like button for me and subscribe if you want to continue to see that content. So I'm going to be giving Ben 10 a curse technique and listen to me, a domain expansion. Ryoiki Tenkai. Yes, I'm giving him a domain expansion as well. I haven't done that. I didn't do that on my last time, but I'm gonna do it now because he deserves it. I also must preface this video by saying, just due to the nature of this ability that I've created for Ben 10, we're gonna say Ben 10 is evil. We're gonna say it's evil Ben 10, because someone who is good like Ben 10 would not wield this ability. This ability, in my opinion, is it's sinister and wicked. Only someone who is inherently kind of evil would use this technique, in my opinion. So I'm gonna say he's evil just to preface this. And obviously this ability is based on Ben 10's abilities in his own verse. You'll just have to put that together. I'm not gonna sit there and break it down for you. I'm not gonna waste too much time. So I'm gonna get right into it. Let's start. So the curse technique that I have given Ben 10 is called curse coagulation. Yes, curse coagulation. That's a pretty sweet name. You could probably start figuring stuff out just based on the name, but allow me to explain what curse coagulation is. What is it down to its simplest form? Well, Ben can create cursed spirits and control them. Yes, he can create them. Not a concept explored in Jujutsu Kaisen yet. So we're on undiscovered turf. We're on untouched territory, untamed waters, if you will. Pretty fascinating here. So how does he do this? How does he do something that is not done in Jujutsu Kaisen? Because normally cursed spirits are created naturally by just negative emotions coagulating on their own until they become sentient beings. And that's how we have cursed spirits. So how does he do this? What he does is he amasses the negative emotions surrounding a thing or a concept of his choosing, and therefore he can birth a cursed spirit out of that. It's very interesting because, listen to this real quick. Normally, you just wield cursed energy, and I'm fascinated by cursed energy because I've always wondered, how do people run out of cursed energy? Because cursed energy is based off negative emotions, and negative emotions are always being produced. There's probably being more produced than there is being expended. Obviously there is, because most people can't even wield sorcery. So how do people run out? They should be able to draw it into themselves and be a forever, like a perpetual energy machine, kind of like how Gojo is. But I think the reason is because negative emotions and cursed energy are separate. There's some sort of process that turns negative emotions into cursed energy, and humans can't tap into that. So with this ability I've given Ben 10, he is able to bypass that and go directly to the source of negative emotions and not just cursed energy. So let's talk about the process of how this is done. So what Ben does is he releases some of his cursed energy, and it acts as a core, attracting enough negative emotions about whatever thing or concept he desires until it creates a new cursed spirit embodying said thing or concept. So he uses some of his cursed energy. That cursed energy, however much, I'm not going to talk about how much. That'll be up for you to decide if you want to, for the intellectuals there. Hopefully some of y'all are there and y'all really like to talk about this. But it attracts the negative emotions. It's not getting the cursed energy. It's not stealing cursed energy from people. It's going directly to the source, which is negative emotions. It's coagulating enough and amassing enough until it creates a sentient being, something that would normally happen naturally. But Ben can do it by will. It's just his curse technique. It's a dastardly curse technique. It shouldn't exist in Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm glad it doesn't, because it would be insanely broken. So the strength of the curse depends on the amount of fear surrounding the concept or thing. So let's take, for instance, what's something in Japan that is like fear? Let's use Japan specifically, because that's where Jujutsu Kaisen, takes place, and Japan's like the hotspot for sorcerers. They're few and far between in the rest of the world. So what's a big stigma or something that creates fear and anxiety in Japan? Let's take earthquakes, for example. So say Ben 10 takes the concept of earthquakes, or the action of an earthquake, or the thing of an earthquake, thinks about it or whatever, creates a core, and it attracts all the negative emotions that Japanese people have about earthquakes, which should be massive because of Japan's history with earthquakes. And it would create a ridiculously powerful cursed spirit that he can control. And that's the kicker right there. How does he control it? Because this is curse coagulation, not curse manipulation. But there's something that happens within the process of Ben creating these cursed spirits that allows him to control it. It's almost accidental. It's an anomaly within his ability that just happens accidentally and gives him another ability. So what happens is, the only reason Ben is able to control the curse is because his own curse energy becomes mixed and melded in with the new cursed spirit's curse energy. And if not for that fact, the curse would run amok. It would run wild, attacking whoever it wants, including Ben himself. That's the only reason he's able to control it, because his energy is mixed in. So what happens when it gets mixed in is it sees Ben as a part of itself. So it listens to him, thinking Ben's commands are its own thoughts. It thinks Ben is one with it. It thinks as Ben as an extension of itself, essentially. So whatever Ben tells it to do, it thinks that it's its own thought. So it does that. It's nasty work all the way around. It's a super broken ability. Not many people could beat this. And yeah, let me know your thoughts so far. I'm not going to waste too much time. I'm going to move directly on to the domain expansion. So yeah, you could see how this kind of lines up with Ben's Omnitrix ability and the creatures he creates, because he's creating these creatures, not just summoning them or turning into them. It's kind of similar. You gotta give me that, guys. This is a dangerous ability. So let's talk about the domain expansion. This one's nasty. I'm truly disturbed by myself for coming up with something like this, because this is something out of a nightmare, out of just a horror scene. So the name of Ben's domain expansion, let's give him this. Let's say this is his activation pose. Gojo has this, you got Malevolent Shrine, all that stuff, Idle Gambler, or Restless Gambler. Let's say that his is this, for obvious reasons. You know why. The Omnitrix. He puts his hand on his wrist and says, Eyes of the Abyss. So what does Eyes of the Abyss do? So Ben's domain expansion steals 75% of his opponent's remaining curse energy pool and turns it into a curse, reflecting your deepest and darkest fear or regret. That's nasty work. And then you have to fight it. It attacks you. And so this puts you at an extreme disadvantage. You probably die, most likely, pretty quickly, because the curse you're fighting possesses more curse energy than you, therefore making its attack stronger and all of that. And it's attacking you. You can't get away from it. You've lost most of your curse energy because your curse energy was used to create it. And not only that, you also have Ben, who will be attacking you with all other cursed spirits that he's allowed to use or that he wants to use within his domain. And so it's just broken. There's nothing you could really do to defeat this unless you're super hacky or you use domain amplification to cancel out the sure hit, which would be taking your curse energy. But I mean, not taking your curse energy, turning your fears and all that stuff into whatever. You have to use domain amplification. And then once that runs out, you're pretty much screwed. And yeah, let me know your thoughts on this. It's pretty nasty. Like, say if he was fighting Gojo, for example. Let's just give an example of the ability because we got time. I want to make it short and sweet, but I don't want to make it too short. So let's say he gets Gojo in his domain, Eyes of the Abyss, and it activates and Gojo doesn't do domain amplification and it hits him because he's weak and all that stuff. What do you think would reflect in Gojo's eyes? What would he see? What would the curse be that he ends up fighting? It would probably be Geto or Suguru. because, you know, that's like his big regret, his big fear. I don't know his true fears. Maybe isolation is one of his fears because he's spent his entire life as a sorcerer trying to gather and teach new students to become strong like him so they can surpass him, so he doesn't have to take on the entire load of the Jujutsu sorcery world. So maybe like isolation, but I would see it being Suguru, and then that would screw him up because we've seen it screw him up in the show. And so we'd have to fight that. Mentally, he's messed up. He lacks all of his cursed energy, and this thing's just stronger than him. And that thing will have its own cursed techniques it's trying to hit you with. So I think it's a lose-lose unless you're somebody like Sukuna, which to this day, we don't even know if Sukuna has any fears or regrets. Most likely he doesn't. I think it's safe to say that he has no fears and no regrets up until now, unless we get a backstory on Sukuna and all that stuff. But for now, he has none. So this domain expansion wouldn't really do shit to Sukuna in that respect. But of course, within the domain, Ben 10 can call upon his cursed spirits and all that stuff if he wants. But, you know, if a cursed spirit is destroyed outside of the domain, let's just say regular's technique, in order to get that back and reuse it, the amount of negative emotions used to create it has to replenish before you can use it again. If that makes sense. It does make sense, in my opinion. So if you use this amount to make it, if it gets destroyed, you have to wait however long it takes to amass those amount of negative emotions again for you to create it. So yeah. Now you can see why it's called Eyes of the Abyss, because they say once you stare too long into the abyss stares back. It's reflecting your deepest, darkest things. That's why it's called Eyes of the Abyss. So yeah, that's the ability. Let me know your thoughts. Truly wicked ability. I'm kind of disturbed with myself for creating something this nasty. I'm glad it doesn't exist in Jujutsu Kaisen because everyone would be dead probably. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Leave a like. Comment your character you want to see. If someone's character gets like 50 likes, I'll just do that next out the gate and try to hit over 200 likes again, please, guys. That way I can continue and have like the motivation to keep giving you this good content. 2 for 2, guys. But peace. 君の気持ちを大事にしなかった私の頭